Welcome back to Montana This Morning. Dr. Simon Atkins is our special guest with us today. We were talking about weather and the forecast as we start looking ahead and how Dr. Atkins comes up with his formulas. And I know that your PhD is in biometeo-electromagnetism.
That's right.
And so we talked a little bit about the magnetism. We talked about the meteo because you predict that we're going to be in for a rough spring. I'm going to get lots of overtime once we start getting into the spring here. With a lot of thunderstorms and a lot of weather happening between now. But let's talk about the bio part, the life and the health part of your philosophy.
Right. Well, I feel lucky enough to be on the air this morning. I mean, I think I represent a lot of what's going on in people's health. I had bronchitis a couple of weeks in February, and thank goodness for the Yellowstone Naturopathic Clinic. Health immunity is changing. And that may seem a radical idea on our planet, that people are actually getting more ill. And I've just brought this screwdriver, Ed, and I'll give this to you just in case you need to tighten the screws in my head here from these wacky ideas. But I'm going to show you this picture right now, if the control room can put that on, about the sun. And I want to start with basics. You'll see on the left-hand side there the sun. And the yellow area is something called CMEs, coronal mass ejections. This is all in science books that high school Montana people study.
Now, you had sent me this graphic last night, and as you sent it to me, I also had an email blast at the same moment telling me that there was one of these CMEs happening, and that it was going to affect the Earth last night. These are the things that we look for when we start looking for a possibility of looking at the northern lights.
Absolutely. The aurora borealis, or the aurora australis in the southern hemisphere. But you see in the center of the screen is that little blue thing. That's the planet Earth. All right? You can see how tiny we are. And look at how the ripples of the coronal mass ejections affect the Earth. Those white lines are called the Van Allen belts. And you can look that up again in any science book. Well, let's go straight to something that I brought in, and I thought we'd have a little fun here this morning. We've got basically a normal bowl of water in a nice clay pot, and the water represents the space. Right? And the sun, being the center of the universe, so to speak, or at least our galaxy. Yes. So imagine the sun is in the center, and revolving around the sun is the planet, so we've got the Earth on the edge. And if I drop in a little few magnet balls, you can see that sometimes just very slight ripples come out. Well, one of those little magnetic balls represents a coronal mass ejection. So if it's small, we're not going to necessarily feel it on the edge. But if I drop a bigger one,
bigger ripples?
Bigger ripples, all right? So all of a sudden, the Earth going around the sun is now going to feel that. And usually if we go out on the beach, we're tanning on the sun, so we're feeling the heat and the ultraviolet energy. But the big news that we're going to start coming more and more up in the news, I think, and sort of paralleling this with health, is magnetics. Now, I'm giving you the honors. You drop the big ball in. Don't get me wet here now.
So the biggest ripples of all.
The biggest ripples of all. All right, so as of February 10th, we had that big sort of solar flare, all right, and it took out a lot of power in southern China. Now, why didn't it take southern U.S. power out? Well, because the Earth was at a certain point in the space where it did not affect the electromagnetics in our part of the world. And look, I'm going to get ready with that screwdriver because I'm going to make a prediction here. February 10th was when the sun started awakening. All right, that was the largest solar flare in 4 years. The Middle East had its mass awakening right around the same time, and the planet is, of course, I'm no expert here, but I'm just doing it on a judgment call, that it's going through its own mass awakening. This is not coincidental. These two events are connected. And I'm going to make a prediction that as these coronal mass ejections, all right, become stronger and stronger through the middle of 2013, anything related to electrical or anything related to magnetics is going to be seeing large movements, shifts, extreme volatility. So I'm saying the weather, stock market up and down, that's electrical, food prices, you name it. This extreme volatility is going to happen through the next 2.5 years.
Okay. I know one thing people will want to know about, getting a chance to hear a little bit about what you said, are there ways for people to learn more about what you're talking about?
Absolutely. I mean, our website, afcrisk.com, has a free subscription level, and we have thousands. And I welcome the public to come onto that. There's an email address on there, support@afcrisk.com. They can get in touch with me through there. Say, hey, I saw Simon. I'd like to ask him something about health. I'd like to ask him something about weather. I'm out there for everybody, and I warmly invite that.
Okay, so again, that website, we don't have a graphic for it, but it's AFC, the letters, afcrisk.com.